Lani nyali kuno kukaya Alundazi Box one kanele Mundubile na munyake make bibiza Na mama Abrenda Nyirenda Simbi za Jelemani
Ejo Mutendere Freedom, 13th August UPND, will you Sosana? Now, don't be cheated. Those guys who are in Tonse today are the same people who were in PF. They were ministers. One was a minister here. The other one was a minister in Northern. The other one was a minister of Home Affairs. Ndiye anayekutipanya tiega swamene ujana mapolisi. Niba mene baja mundu atoka mujipanichi achinja zina kwati bena bachinja olo niba mene. Wena ni Pompwe ni kwesha kubwelera kunuma haikona.
Mwewapo new president wa Resolute Party neze Mutonse Pamozi Alliance mula nesezana obala bantu amale walauti chikurupire kuliye abantu mukapangana nawo bintu opita kuseri okuzochita vyaki mama je bantu bamwe mukavotere seyo tufuna abantu bali straight monga President Hakainde Hichilema tufuna abantu bana integrity monga President Hakainde Hichilema so nikarabira mkiye mwangwa leo bano Martin Mataiso Piri President of Resolute Party lelo I endorse President Hakainde Hichilema for 2 terms. Viva Hakainde! Viva Hakainde! So, abantu abebamba kusoberera ku kipani changu cha Resolute Party mwakolemba na tumaleta tulira ku mutu mkuzomangiwa. SG Alex Katepu, you are expelled. And all those who are trying to work with him to do Mingarato, I will make sure that you be put in sales for Tuesday. Wata chitaba cha bechabe, mwachepa sana. SG, you are fired. Alex Katepu, you are fired. Return of party documents to the secretariat with immediate effect.
Good afternoon. Today is 2nd August 2026. Would like to address all members of the Resolute Party and members of the Tonse Pamozi Alliance and all alliance partners that I'm sure by now we are all aware of what is trending in the media about the party president, Dr. Martin Piri, endorsing President Hakainde Hichilema. Right now, I'm accompanied by aspiring candidates, party officials of the Resolute Party, members of the Tonse Pamozi Alliance, and we want to put it on record that as the Resolute Party, we would like to announce the immediate expulsion of Dr. Piri from the party following what the leadership describes as a gross violation of the Resolute Party constitution and conduct deemed incompatible with the values and principles of the party. The party leadership states that despite several engagements with Dr. Piri regarding allegations that he had corruptly acquired money from our opponents, he nevertheless proceeded to publicly endorse President Hakainde Hichilema for this year's general election in Katete. According to the party, these actions constitute a serious breach of the party constitution and amount to conduct that has brought the Resolute Party into disrepute. After careful consideration, the party has resolved that Dr. Martin Piri is expelled from the Resolute Party with immediate effect. Consequently, he ceases to be a member of the Resolute Party and is no longer authorized to represent, speak on behalf of, or act in the name of the party in any capacity. The Resolute Party wishes to assure all its members, aspiring candidates, and supporters that the party remains strong, united, and fully committed to its political agenda, and that in accordance with Article 56A of the Resolute Party Constitution, it is a sole mandate of the Secretary General to perform all party administrative, instructive, mobilization, and all decisions of the party has to be authorized by the Secretary General's office. The Resolute Party wishes, or the leadership further calls upon all Resolute Party candidates and members to remain calm, focused, and disciplined as the party continues to strengthen its structures ahead of the general election. The Resolute Party also reaffirms that it remains a committed member of the Tonse Pamoja Alliance and will continue working with its alliance partners in pursuit of its shared objective. The Office of the Secretary General of the party administration operates under strict constitutional framework, and no individual possesses the authority to subvert party rules outside their recognized disciplinary and democratic structure. We appeal to all provincial, district, constituency, and grassroots structures of the Resolute Party and all aspiring candidates nationwide to remain calm, focused, and unshaken. Members are urged to ignore individual grandstandings and continue to uphold party discipline and unity. The Resolute Party places it on record that it remains firmly anchored to its broader collective goals and remains its strategic allegiance to the Tonse Pamoja Alliance.
Good morning, Zambia, and welcome to today's broadcast. Today we are dealing with What the Papers Say, a segment we started in his inaugural address just last week. And every day I've got a guest that helps me analyze the newspapers of the day. I've got my dear brother today, Dr. Brian Sampa, is here with me and will help me analyze the newspapers of the day. Doc, good day and welcome to today's broadcast.
Good morning. How are you, Ambassador?
Hope you found time to rest, Doc, because yesterday I didn't do the edition of What the Papers Say.
Oh, yeah. Now I rested enough.
Oh,
I don't know about you.
No, very well, very well. I think the issue of the Resolute Party today will dominate the debate for one simple reason. We've seen this play out before. Mao Sampa, he perfected this art. So one will expel the other will expel the other, and there'll be a fight for legitimacy. But I think what is good is that the Constitutional Court has ruled that the electoral calendar, the ballot papers will not be disturbed under any circumstances other than that of death. So resignations, expulsions, withdrawals do not work at this stage. They will not disrupt the ballot papers, and the ballot papers are already in the country, and there's now a countrywide distribution that is taking place 10 days before Zambia goes to the poll. And let me just look at the newspapers that we are reviewing today. Doc, I've got something for you. The president was opening something at the cancer center, and he seemed agitated that members of staff or members in the audience who were health workers had phones, and this is what he said.
Expect phones here. I think the system must ensure that everybody who works here, they don't come in with their phones. Yeah. We will even obliterate the network from here. Yes. Unless you want to do digital consultations. You want to do digital consultations, so be it. I'm not being harsh. You know what I'm talking about.
So I'll invite your comments. I don't know what bothered the president. There are many times, for us to address public audience, you could be speaking and everyone is looking on the phone, and you wonder whether they are paying attention to you, whether they are recording you, or was the president's agitation that he was at the hospital premises and there have been complaints that sometimes someone could be dying and the nurse is on social media or a doctor is on social media or any other health worker. What was the context? So I'll invite your comment on that. But let's look at the issues of the day. My newspaper, EMV newspaper, is running with the story that the Resolute Party has expelled its president, Dr. Martin Piri. And it's also running with the story of Brian Munduvile, who has raised 860,000 and pledges of up to 2.6 million. And Zicta moved in to shut down the short code. And Bank of Zambia threatened the young man that had opened this short code to raise funds. He was accused that he didn't declare that he was raising funds for political purposes, and they were, scaring him with charges of money laundering and other offenses. And we're also quoting the threat on Brian Munduvile's life as revealed by the former independent member of parliament, Fonkana Binwe Mpundu. We have the Daily Nation is running with a complaint exactly where Brian and Makebi have not been given airspace, and in many cases the roads are blocked wherever they go. We also discuss Dr. Piri was expelled. He has also now expelled the Secretary General. There's that letter that we'll discuss. Remember, the story broke with this picture where Dr. Piri was seen with Mao Sampa and Dr. Kazonga, and they were en route, I think, they were in Eastern Province. That was Katete, and they have a helicopter dedicated to them. And then you saw the address that was given to that. We'll discuss that matter. On fundraising, we saw the president mock Brian Munduvile and Makebi Zulu, but the president used to raise funds in similar fashion. Let me look at the other newspaper headlines. Oh, I noticed that I haven't uploaded them. Just give me a moment. We look at them. Yeah, that was Makebi Zulu. I was playing that because the president today is in his former constituency in Malambo, and I know they'll go very personal on Makebi Zulu when the president is in his former constituency, Malambo. President Hakainde Hichilema is scheduled to be in Malambo. I just noticed I didn't upload News Diggers and the other newspapers, so just give me a moment. That's what I'm trying to do. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I found the newspapers. Like I always joke that I'm the cameraman, I'm the producer, I'm the director, I'm the presenter, and I'm the researcher running a studio all alone. So some things in a process like this, where you are running up to 3 broadcasts a day, is not easy. The Mast is running with that story from Apostle Billy Mfula, who's asking the police to be at least fair and impartial and save all, not to be, as partial as we have seen them. They're also running with KCM that it has ramped up some production and is now doing 10,000 tons a month, and that the Bank of Zambia has slashed its reserve ratio to 21%. Reserve ratio is the money that banks and financial institutions are direct to keep at the central bank. That determines a lot of things, including how much money will be in circulation. If they reduce, that means the banks has more money to lend out. The Real Times is running with the story of the president commissioning a refurbished radiotherapy cancer equipment. And he's also talking about the phones, because as every time the president was speaking, everyone was on the phone. He felt offended and he issued out those remarks. And Dr. Brand Sampa will spend some time on that issue that ticked off the president. And the Daily Nation had taken another paper of the Daily Nation where Brian Munduwile and Makebi were saying they can't fly. That's an odd story, but I brought it for a purpose. But today's paper is this one, which is saying that the Resolute Party has expelled betrayer Dr. Piri. And they fool you once. Yeah, you say, so will we allow to be fooled twice? Ladies and gentlemen, let's begin our analysis, and I'll thrust before you my dear brother, Dr. Brian Sampa. Dr. Sampa, good day, and thank you for joining me, and thank you for helping me analyzing these. This is a special cause for our country, that we have to keep our country well informed. Let's start with the issue. Maybe the issue I talked about. Let me just play that video briefly of the president being ticked off by hospital staff. And he says probably we should disconnect towers from here, or disconnect network from here, unless it's being used for digital reference or digital research.
Expect phones here. I think the system must ensure that everybody who works here, they don't come in with their phones. Yeah. We will even obliterate the network from here. Yes. Unless you want to do digital consultations. If you want to do digital consultations, so be it.
Doc, what was your reaction?
Well, Ambassador, this is very concerning, because whenever the president speaks, it means the president is speaking policy. So we expect that the people who are handling the president always need to advise him on certain matters. What you need to know is that working in the hospital is different from working in certain places where maybe those phones may not be allowed. In the hospital, there are times when you can be in a certain ward and there's an emergency, you are needed to go to the emergency room. So imagine a doctor who has left a phone because they are not allowed to be with the phone at that time. Who is going to call them? It means they will now need to allow somebody to start looking for them physically, which may also take time. But remember that in the hospital, time is of the essence, because just a few minutes of delay may make someone die. Patients are lost just because of time delay. So saying that people should not be with phones is a non-starter. What should be talked about is, are people using phones responsibly? Yes, there are always people who do use phones in extremes, who would want to be on phones while they are working. But remember, yesterday the president was giving a speech, and it's not unusual for people to be on phones when there's a speech. It's not something new they were expecting to hear, because at the first, just to start with, what the president was doing yesterday is not something which was even warranted. I'm sure most of the people may have seen it as just a political stunt, because that cancer diseases hospital was already built, it had been equipped, but the problem was those machines were never serviced, and then some of them went out of service. I remember very well, we used to advocate for buying new machines in 2022, and also making sure that those machines were serviced, the ones that were there. So it was not something which even required the president to go and commission, because the cancer disease hospital itself had already been there, and the machines, most of them have already been there. We were lacking some medications and some specific machines. So that upgrade, in as much as it is welcome, but it was overrated. And the president went further to complicate things by trying to issue that statement that people should not be with phones and they're going to obliterate the network. Now that is even worse, because if you don't have network in a building and you are needed to go somewhere as a doctor and it's an emergency, that would delay a lot of time. So The only thing we can say is that, you know, during political times like these, the president may be forced to make certain statements, but that statement definitely does not conform to the normal practice in the hospital. There's nowhere where doctors are told you can't move with phones, or nurses, because even nurses, sometimes they are called, or you are needed here, or maybe you need to bring something here, or sometimes it's a cancer diseases patient who is at the emergency room, and then maybe they're about to transfer that person to the cancer disease hospital. They make those calls. Oh, we've got a patient coming. Please be on the lookout. Prepare for this patient. You know, sometimes the patient is coming directly to go into radiology, or maybe they're coming directly to go into theater. So they have to be informed in advance so that they prepare the theater before that patient arrives. So that's so impractical. And again, the president is not the hive of all knowledge. That's why we always need to realize that there are things that the president doesn't know, just like every other person. And that is one of the things which we've noted from that statement.
You've been working in the United States, and you've had a feel of working in Zambia. In regards to phone and phone policy, social media, what have you found? How can you compare the two?
One thing I'll tell you is that here people move the phones anywhere, and there are no restrictions whatsoever to the phones. And there are so many times when you can be in the ward as a doctor, and then you receive a call, maybe from your senior or from someone you're supervising. Oh, doc, there is this and that, and then you respond to that. Sometimes you may need to follow up on certain things, labs or radiologies. You want to find out if you can't find the notes, and then you can follow up using the phone, which means the phone is essential. The same thing was happening in Zambia. Our consultants, many times, yeah, you know, when you are dealing with students, yes, you can say you don't need to come with a phone, because even when you're dealing with students, you can tell them, put the phones on silent, the class has started. That is understandable, or you put the phone on vibrations. But when it comes to the working doctors there, and when you are just doing routine work, the phones are very important, because you are communicating each and every time. This used to happen in Zambia, and it was very effective. Even now, it does happen here where I'm working, and it's very effective. In Zambia, it's even more pronounced, because remember, sometimes we receive patients from far-flung areas. So they make sure before the patient arrives at the main hospital, they inform the hospital in advance so that the hospital knows. Now, the hospital phones sometimes may not be working. So sometimes people call the individual doctors or individual workers there. They would call a nurse or a doctor or anybody and say, oh, we are bringing a patient, please be on the lookout. And indeed, when I compare the two, the phones are part of the job that we do. You can't run away from that. So the president may have been agitated or irritated by whatever was happening, but definitely that decision may be very extreme, and it may jeopardize the whole essence of time saving, which is also life saving.
I think of importance is a state of the cancer disease hospital. We saw our patients were being evacuated to Tanzania and to India. The cancer hospital, which was a marvel for Southern Africa, and we began to see patients come from the DRC, Angola, Malawi, come to Zambia for treatment. But all of a sudden, in the last 3 years, that entire cancer hospital just collapsed. The installation of one equipment, does it resolve the issues? Do we have diagnosis equipment? Do we have enough and adequate medicine, for example, for chemotherapy?
Okay, so, you know, Ambassador, what people don't realize is this. The Cancer Disease Hospital was already equipped with everything before 2021. The only thing was that sometimes we could run out of medication and some machines needed servicing. So when the new government came into office in 2021, all they needed to do was to make sure they buy the required medication. They were supposed to service those machines. They were supposed to buy whatever required machines, which were just going to be However, they stopped doing anything of that sort. Instead, they resorted to sending patients to Tanzania. I remember I talked about this so much when I was in Zambia. They started sending patients to Tanzania and India. When we calculated, we were looking at the millions which were being spent sending these patients to Tanzania and India. It was more than just buying the machines. You know, buying these machines would have been easily done that same time, that was in 2021 or 2022. It couldn't have even have waited to say they come and do it today, you know, just near the elections. It could have been done a long time ago. A lot of lives would have been saved. Because remember, even these patients who've been going to Tanzania and India, it's those who are privileged. Most of the cancer patients have never been to India or Tanzania. They're just languishing home. Just as an example, last year in somewhere October, somebody called that they needed me to connect them to the Ministry of Health because they had a problem. And you see, those people, everybody needs somebody to connect them for them to go to India or Tanzania. And even that connection wasn't successful. So, which means that person is still living with that cancer. You never know how far the cancer has gone by now because it may have metastasized and it may even be more complicated to deal with. So, there are so many Zambians who are struggling with cancer and they haven't gotten the treatment because of the policy of the government where they prioritized sending people for treatment instead of buying this equipment. So to bring it now after 5 years, a lot of lives have been lost already.
Just to support you, they've just dealt with the radiotherapy equipment. I'm told the imaging equipment, the CT scan, all these things required to work first for diagnosis and for treatment. And also the chemotherapy medicine must be available other than radiotherapy. So they've just tackled one small item. And you know also the issues of the lab for diseases that come because you have cancer. And the statistics are staggering. 15,000, minimum 15,000 of our people are being diagnosed of cancer. And of those, up to 9,800 or 10,000 every year, we are recording deaths for cancer. And to see the cancer hospital neglected, which is supposed to first reduce these deaths, provide treatment, lengthen the life of our people, you know, has just collapsed. And for me, the cancer disease hospital requires more attention than the token process we saw with the president commissioning just the radiotherapy. What about imaging equipment, you know, to check where the cancer is? In many cases, you miss it at diagnosis. By the time you find what the cancer is, it could be too late. Any other words on this matter before we leave the subject? Yeah.
Yeah, if I can add on that, you see, Ambassador, like you are saying, that's why I said that ceremony was overrated because we are talking about just one machine and then we didn't even touch the issue of medicines. Those cancer medications are very expensive. Our patients have to go and buy those medications. Some of them, just one vial is 5,000 kwacha. And how many people are having these monies? Others are 10,000 kwacha, others 1,000, but they are really expensive medications. And the government hasn't been providing such medications for a long time. The Cancer Disease Hospital has been a white elephant from 2021 to date. So to come and install one machine and go and put a poster there that I am the one who decommissioned this, it's more of a political stunt than the actual work. Then one thing I want to bring to your attention also is that from last year in October, the government had apparently procured some radiological equipment for all the hospitals. And these radiological equipments, like x-rays and portable ultrasounds, they were sent to different districts. But can you imagine that up to now, they haven't been installed because apparently the government hasn't paid the vendor. So the vendor refused to go and install these equipment. So one of the radiology specialists actually called me and told me, hey, doc, are you aware about this story? So they have been waiting. A lot of people, these radiological equipments, a lot of hospitals in districts are not using them, but they need them so much. So to see the president even go and just commission one radiotherapy machine, and say that no, they have revitalized the cancer disease hospital is not really representing what is on the ground, because not everybody who goes for cancer treatment needs radiotherapy. Others may just need chemotherapy.
It's a story of the 61 trucks marooned in Makeni. If the trucker whose trucks were marooned for a period of 6 months, 7 months, didn't raise alarm that my trucks are marooned, they can't offload. If the owner of the premises, who was now charging, those demurrage charges, I didn't raise, said, look, for 6, 7 months, these people haven't paid me. Who wouldn't have known that the 61 trucks are marooned? Similarly, this is a story you are telling us, where X-ray and other radiological equipment have already been distributed, but they can't be installed because the vendor hasn't been paid. Similar story to the 61 trucks. Doc, let's go to the next story. The Resolute Party has expelled its president. And let's just briefly remind our audience.
Alliance. Good afternoon. Today is 2nd August 2026. Would like to address all members of the Resolute Party and members of the Tonse Pamozi Alliance and all alliance partners that I'm sure by now we are all aware of what is trending in the media about the party president, Dr. Martin Phiri, endorsing President Hakainde Hichilema. Right now, I'm accompanied by aspiring candidates, party officials of the Resolute Party, members of the Tonse Pamozi Alliance, and we want to put it on record that as the Resolute Party, we would like to announce the immediate expulsion of Dr. Phiri from the party following what the leadership describes as a gross violation of the Resolute Party constitution and conduct deemed incompatible with the values and principles of the party. The party leadership states that despite several engagements with Dr. Phiri regarding allegations that he had corruptly acquired money from our opponents, he nevertheless proceeded to publicly endorse President Hakainde Hichilema for this year's general election in Katete. According to the party, these actions constitute a serious breach of the party constitution and amount to conduct that has brought the Resolute Party into disrepute.
Mwewapo, neo president wa Resolute Party, neze Mutonse Pamozi Alliance, mula nesezana wala bantu, wamale wanauti chikurupile kuliye. Abantu mkapangana nao bintu opita kuseli okuzoshita viaki. Mama je bantu wame mkavotere? Je bantu wame mkavotere? Seo tufuna bantu wali straight, monga President Hakainde Hichilema. Tufuna bantu wana integrity, monga President Hakainde Hichilema. So nikarabira mkie, mwangwa? Leo pano? Martin Mataiso Phiri, President of Resolute Party, Lelo, I endorse President Hakainde Hichilema for 2 terms. Viva Hakainde! Viva Hakainde!
Doc, we've seen this playbook. That the one that has been expelled is expelling others, and is standing with the next president, is now even threatening arrest to the SG. and others. We've seen this, I call it the Mao Sampa playbook, where confusion is brought to the political party and our people, get confused. Who's in charge? Who is right? What does the law say?
Yeah.
And a debate ensues. Just tell us your thoughts when you saw this development in the Resolute Party. For our audience and for our viewers, the Resolute Party is a special purpose vehicle for Pamozi Alliance, where President Makebi Zulu is president. They have various political parties, and they chose Resolute Party as a special purpose vehicle. And they have candidates, especially in Lusaka and the Copper Belt. The the Tonse Alliance have a special purpose vehicle in NRPUP. And you saw on filing of nominations that there were threats that and plans that both Makebi Zulu and Brian Mundubile and their political parties would not be allowed. There were issues of registrar of societies. There were various issues. In the end, the two parties decided that they will go to file anyway. But they were very lucky that on the first instance, when Brian Mundubile turned up with Makebi Zulu as running mate, on NRPUP, Tonse, because Tonse and Pamozi had come together a few days before, the ticket was successful. Brian Mundubile filed in successfully. So they abandoned the plans to go and file under Tonse, where Makebi was expected to file as president. And the acceptance by both parties that it could be led by either, I think, was magnanimous of leadership. And I think the country welcomed that selfless approach where either of them were willing to be vice or to lead one another. And we've seen the synergy where Makebi Zulu has settled in his role as vice president or running mate, and the leadership has gone to Brian Mundubile. Rarely do you see that symmetry emerge. But let's go back to the issue of Resolute Party. There's an attempt to disrupt and cause confusion in the Tonse Pamozi Alliance.
So, Ambassador, this is very concerning, but I want to bring to your attention and the viewers one thing. This playbook the UPND are using is something that has always been used. It was used on me as well. I'll give you an example. The time that I was RDZ president and we started asking the government to employ more doctors, doctors started protesting. That was in 2022. And we were asking for more medication to be bought and all that, and the employment process, which was very corrupt. The UPND sponsored a small group of people to go and have a convention without me and my Secretary General, and they resolved that they had picked somebody else, and that person started speaking for the doctors. But you see, for me, I didn't fight it because I knew the government was behind that, and I just ignored it and said, hey, you can go ahead. But what followed is history, because that grouping never even performed anything. So when you look at what they did to the PF, the Mao Sampa saga, it was the same thing. Edgar Lungu was there, but Mao Sampa was organized with other people. They went and had that convention, and later he became president. There were, of course, expulsions, counter-expulsions, but because the government was backing Mao Sampa, everything has reached a stage where it was handed over to Mao Sampa. What we are seeing being played here is the same script. The Resolute Party consider it gone, because even if the Secretary General expelled the president, the thing is the president has also expelled the Secretary General. Now they are going to go to court. You know, the courts which are controlled by this government are very dangerous courts. What they do is that they already have a predetermined outcome. They will drag their feet. So if the Secretary General goes to court to ask that they to counter what the president has done, the courts are going to drag their feet. If the president goes to court in an event where, let's say, the Secretary General has an injunction, then the courts are going to quash that injunction and set a date. So during that time when they are setting a date, everything will be as they were, where the Secretary General and the President will be in limbo. So we have a situation playing before us which has already happened in several political parties. Unfortunately, under the UPND, democracy is not being allowed to thrive. whatever they are doing is to make sure that they are the only credible party. So Resolute Party is really gone. But now, what people need to understand is that they chose Resolute Party for a reason. You know, UPND knows that they have lost to Lusaka in Copper Belt. Now, according to the agreement in the Tonse, it was agreed that Tonse was going to file under Resolute Party in Lusaka and Copper Belt. And these are very important, constituencies. So Resolute Party has got all the MPs in Lusaka except 2 who are for Pelampi. And when you go to Copper Belt, it's almost the same scenario. So the gamble there is that if Resolute Party can have their members either withdraw or they are expelled by their president, even if the constitution says nothing can happen to them, but when the president starts talking like the way he's talking, the former president or the president of the Resolute Party, who is Piri, their playbook was that if they can expel those people, then it's like UPND will just remain unopposed. Let's take, for instance, Jean Kapata is under Resolute Party, and then there is also a UPND trying to compete with Jean Kapata. If Jean Kapata was to say, oh, now we are supporting UPND, and withdraws, that leaves UPND alone. Or if Jean Kapata wins, still that is a member. It means that, oh, I'm not saying Jean Kapata is really a member of the UP. I'm just giving an example. If at all one wins who is from Resolute Party, then it means they are still in alliance. So they calculated this move, but now here is the weak link. The weak link here is that they are forgetting that the people are able to see all this. And these members of Resolute Party have never been consulted. So which means their loyalties are still with the Tonse Alliance and Brian Mundubile. So whatever Mr. Piri has done and the UPND is exactly what they are going to get when they got Chavinga. You can only get the shell without anything inside it. So they thought they got Patriotic Front, but they only got Chavinga and everyone else remained. The same thing, they have gotten Piri, but the entire Resolute Party has remained with Tonse, Makebi Zulu, and Mundubile. So these tactics will not work, and it has shown from time and again. They should have learned from it earlier, because people have already decided, and once people decide, you can't fatten a cow in 24 hours before slaughter. It's like that's what the UPND are trying to do. They want to do everything they never did, everything they wish they could have done within these 10 days, and expect that people are going to change the perception and they're going to vote for them. That is not going to work, because come 13th August, the same people who are standing on Ichola, people already know that these are working with Mundubile. And once those people win, whatever follows can be handled after elections. But the truth is, these are still Tonse members, and people already know who they are, and people are not going to be moved by these semantics. So what we are seeing here, Ambassador, is very concerning, because these people, they love money so much that they can do anything for it. You can imagine if these are the kind of leaders we had during the time when the Zambians were fighting for independence. I can assure you up to now, we still would have been under colonialism, because these people would have gone and talked to Zelensky and the others that just give me money. I'm going to endorse you that you are the best. They don't really care about other people. What they care about is their pockets. Today, they can be criticizing the same person. If that person meets them and gives them money, the same mouth, there is no integrity. The same mouth will start shouting praises and condemning other people. We wouldn't have gotten independence with these kind of leaders, because these leaders are very selfish, and Zambians are seeing them for what they are. And the other thing the UPND need to realize is that the more they accept these people, they're just decampaigning themselves. So it's a plus when all these people are going there, because it's a party full of betrayers, full of unpatriotic people who don't care about Zambians. All they are doing is, they are benefiting just their pockets, and then they move on like that. They don't care about Zambians. So this move won't change anything. The fate has already been decided, and you can tell when you look at the Zambians and you talk to them, they all tell you, they know exactly what's going on.
Indeed, just to add your word that you were a victim of this Mingalato. So as NDC, one day Savoy Imboila just woke up, there was a conference in Kabwe, and the names at the Registrar of Societies were changed. Sebastian Copeland, they also just woke up one weekend and he found that a group had gathered and said they had held a conference without him and they ousted him as president. He went to court, but you know what happens? The playbook of the PF played out. But there have been two developments. The two rulings in the Constitutional Court last week were very instructive. Nothing will happen to the ballot papers for now. And for the period when you file in nominations and the deadline has lapsed, nothing will happen. And you have seen where Harry Calabar and Citizen First have been told that your running mate remains Moses Mawere. You've been told that Brian Mushimba, his running mate, Andy Ford Banda, remains running mate, even if he has withdrawn or resigned. Similarly, Dr. Given Katuta and her running mate, is it John Yorenda, remains running mate. I was asking Isaac Mwanza, who had petitioned the Constitutional Court, I said, this is an absurd ruling. So you are telling me, let us assume that Harry Calabar wins the presidency. So Moses Mawere will be vice president. That's what the court are telling us. The man that withdrew, that resigned. And the process to remove the vice president who's elected is a long, drawn-out process that ends up in impeachment. The president can't fire his vice president, can only rally parliament for impeachment. So it clearly is a matter that is will raise absurdities. But as it is, the ballot, in the quest to protect the ballot, which ECZ has been pushing. Remember the amendment of Article 52(6) was that when someone resigns, they were causing fresh nominations. To defeat that, they removed that. And this is now what has happened, where everyone who's on the ballot is protected. There's nothing you can do. So the people on the Resolute Party, even if Dr. Piri fired them today, withdrew them today, none of that would work. Looking at the two constitutional rulings that occurred last week, one on independence and the other one's on running mate. Let's look at another newspaper. The issue of the police being biased. They are not the only ones that are being biased. So is ECZ. In its recruitment of post staff, I think it hasn't disclosed full details. We are seeing a lot of murky things happening at ECZ. They did a public recruitment, they've shelved that list. But here, Bishop Apostle Mfula is urging the police to be fair, to be impartial, because we've seen how they are treating Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu, blocking them, attempting to stop them from going to rallies, rescheduling their rallies at short notice. Just give us your thoughts about the conduct of the police.
So the bishop is very right that the police have been impartial. But have been partial. But the thing is this, Ambassador, it's far-fetched to even ask this police to be impartial. Because why do we say so? Most of them have been appointed through political affiliation. Most of them, you find that the positions they are holding, they didn't even deserve them, but because they are affiliated with the ruling government, that's how come they hold those positions. So they are bound to protect their government and their party. So to ask for impartiality from such a police is really far-fetched, because what will happen is, no matter what happened, when they see President Mundubile campaigning, for them, they look at their jobs as being in danger, because they know that if Mundubile wins, he may change the commissioner, he may change the IG. So they look at all those things and they say, how are we going to help our party to remain in power? Everyone is doing their part to campaign for UPND. And that's why you are seeing that, including civil servants and every other cadre in the government, they are doing the same. So yes, the police need to be encouraged to be impartial, but to expect that is going to happen, what needs to be done is just the BM8 team, to learn how to maneuver the way they have already learned. Most of the times when they were blocked, they ended up going to the Catholic churches, and the Catholic were providing the places where they could have the rallies. And we expect that this trend will continue, because those will provide sanctuaries where they can go and the police are not going to follow them. So the police have always acted this way, unfortunately, most of the time. But this time it has gotten worse because there is too much politicization in the police. We even hear audios, like there was that audio that surfaced some time back where one of the senior police officers was talking about how they were supposed to make sure they help the current president to remain in office. So those are some of the things that we have seen them grow, and now we are seeing them in full force because the elections are approaching. So what we were seeing in the past 4 years is exactly what is now being amplified. So yes, the bishop is right. The police need to act in a dignified manner because that's the only way they are going to even be maintained. You see, if they act professional, there's no need for a new person to come and say, hey, I'm changing you. No, they would keep them. But if you're unprofessional and you are seen to be so biased, then you are a danger to the police because you end up executing partial kind of treatment to different kind of people, which is not supposed to be the case.
Yes. Brian Munduvile and Makebi Zulu arrived in Lusaka yesterday to recharge, also to pay their last respect to Dr. Canisius Banda. But I guess they only have 10 days in which to cover the two critical provinces of Barotseland and Southern Province. So they must be heading, I think, by later in the day today, they'll be in Western Province. They might have not the entire, Western Province has up to 16 districts. So they might just tackle the major ones, maybe Kaoma, Mongu, Sesheke and Kalabo, and quickly venture out into Southern Province, again, which has, up to 29 constituencies and I think 19 districts. So you have difficulties to cover the entire area in these last 10 days. And they have to come to the center to coordinate that last minute vote protection and also give their final messages to the to the media in Lusaka for the country. As for President Hakainde Hichilema, he can manage. He has helicopters that is from ZAF. He has public money he's using, and he's giving helicopters even to, we saw a helicopter to Mausamp and Dr. Martin Piri. He's going to the areas the second time. So he's in Eastern Province and he's supposed to be in Malambo today. He covered Petauke and Chipata yesterday. We don't know other districts other than Malambo that will cover. He's at Liberty as a helicopter and the opposition cannot. The issue of raising funds, which papers covered that? Let's see. The issue of raising funds, I think I saw it in one of... but let's talk about the issue of raising funds. Yeah. Brian Munduvile requested that he raises funds straight from the public. And there was ridicule from the ruling party, and even President Hakainde Hichilema mocked Brian Munduvile's request. He says CDF funds are available. What are your views?
Funding from the public, for me, that was very impressive. It showed maturity in our democracy. You see, democracy should be participatory by the people who are supposed to be the beneficiaries of that democracy. The best way you can involve the people is to let them fund these campaigns, because if the people fund campaigns, then the integrity of the election is guaranteed. Because remember that if you have got one person sponsoring you from outside the country, they will have their own interests. And these are the problems we've had in Africa for years, where the foreign entities sponsor people to become presidents, and once they are in office, when they want to do the right thing for the people, those foreign entities' interests may be in conflict with what the people want. And because the foreign entities sponsored that president, they end up doing the thing that pleases the foreign entity, meanwhile alienating the people who voted for them. So the people were merely used as rubber stamps to put people in office, but the main people who were benefiting were the entities that sponsored those leaders. So what Munduvile has done is a shift. It's the first time in our country that we are having a leader who is going to be fully sponsored by the Zambians. That is a plus, because it means that whatever Munduvile will be doing, He's not going to be bound by agreements with foreign entities. We have audios, we've had a lot of reports about even the current government where there were issues with some mining firms that sponsored them, and then they promised them that for sure they were going to benefit. And we have seen how the mining sector has really failed the Zambians, because there has been tax breaks, and these tax breaks have been there, which are just benefiting a few individuals who are running those firms. Meanwhile, the Zambian people are not benefiting. So to avoid such occurrences, what Mundubile has done is the best, because it's the Zambian people who is going to be answerable to. And the Zambian people most likely would demand what is going to better Zambia as a country, not what is going to better an individual who is sitting in some office outside the country. So this is a very good thing. And it's so ironic that the president even had to mock them, because the president himself, there is evidence of him asking for donations in 2016, in 2021. So again, we are dealing with a lot of deception and a lot of manipulation. Saying even when they know what they did, they still want to come out like they never did it. But it's a very good thing, and all well-meaning Zambians should move in numbers and support this movement for Mundubile, because that is the only way they will be sure that they are having an indigenous leader who is going to put Zambia first.
The decision to cancel the short code for the fundraising for Brian Mundubile, what do you say? And you can you can combine it here. You can see President Hakainde Hichilema was mocking Brian Mundubile, saying Parafinia Sila Mulampi, loves a church. The party in 24 hours remarkably raised 860,000. Of course, the news diggers is being mischievous by saying, quoting, that Mundubile risks selling Zambia if citizens don't help fund the campaign. They're quoting Binwell. Binwell was simply stating what you are saying, that if you allow our leaders to get money from elsewhere, those where you get money from, they have capacity to sway public policy to their benefit. That was the point he was driving.
Sure. So when you look at that headline already, I think we've all seen for now that we all know where News Diggers stands. So the way they did that headline, when you look at what Binwell Mpundu was saying, it's exactly like you've said what I was alluding to, that if you allowed Mundubile to start looking for money himself, no one is going to give him money for free. So that person will come up with their own conditions. So that will mortgage the country. He will be like, okay, so when I win, I'm going to make sure that I'll give you these kind of contracts. I'm going to give you mines. I'll do this and that. So that is what Binwell was talking about. So to avoid that, when the Zambians are the ones who mortgage, or who are the ones who take part in this kind of setup where they fund the campaigns, me, if I support Mundubile and I send a 500 or 100, I'm not attaching any condition to that. The only thing I want is Mundubile to win and change the lives of the Zambians. That is the difference. But when you get a Canadian firm to fund you, when they fund you, they'll tell you, when we come in Zambia, we're going to get copper, we're going to get gold, and then you should make sure in the 5 years we should not pay tax. They are looking at their pockets. Is that benefiting Zambians? The answer is no. So indeed, it is it's expected that some papers are aligned, and they'll always try to use the same word somebody used, but to imply something really different from what somebody wanted to communicate. And the president saying, no, Parafinia Sila, I know, you see, when you look at the president now, it has become very difficult when he's campaigning to give people new hope, because like we earlier said, when you are a sitting president, when you go to campaign, what you should be doing is commissioning projects. You should be telling people what you've done during that period you're in office, and then how you're going to build on what you've done. Unfortunately, the president's list is too short. And when he goes to these rallies, he wants to talk about CDF. People will tell you the issues they have with CDF. He can't talk about roads. He can't talk about infrastructure. He can't commission anything, because if he tried to do that, there's nothing that he's going to commission. He wasn't building. So what he's doing now is he has to promise a school, a hospital, a road in every district. Now, when you are promising like that, people tend to wonder, what about the past 5 years? At least you could have done one of those things in this district. The past 5 years have gone, you haven't done it. What guarantee do we have that this coming 5 years, you're going to do all that? And to be realistic, the president has promised even more than he did in 2021. Because look, he has promised to have international airports in almost all the districts. And then apart from that, he has promised also schools, hospitals, roads in so many districts. And then universities. When you look at such promises, they can't be done in 5 years. So the president is just saying things for the sake of saying. He failed to do any of those in 5 years. So the 5 years he's been in office, he has showed what he's capable of doing. And people are considering what he's capable of doing, not what he's saying. So when there is not much information to give the people, the president is resorting to mockery and also just telling people that don't vote for this person. Like, these elections are interesting because the president goes and literally instructs people not to vote for someone, which is ironic because what he's forgetting is this. Every time he stands on that podium and talks about Mundubile, he's campaigning for Mundubile. Remember that Mundubile is not given any airtime on ZNBC. But when the president is mentioning Mundubile, he's giving Mundubile the free airtime. So it's actually playing very well for Mundubile. He's mentioning him at every rally. He's mentioning Makebi at every rally. So this is playing very well for Mundubile. And the president doesn't know that he has become the major campaign manager for Mundubile, because everyone expects that whenever he stands on that podium, it will be Mundubile, including the people he is moving with. They are all talking about Mundubile and why people shouldn't vote for Mundubile.
He coined the term the boys, and people have adopted it in the positive, not in the negative he intended.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we expected. You know, that's the other thing that I wanted to mention before I forget here is that I noticed people have been wondering why most of the songs that have been produced, let's say for Mundubile, they are becoming hits. So somebody posed the question as to why these were becoming hits. And then the explanation I gave them is that, look, what is happening is this. People are ready for change and people have gone through a lot. So when you sing a song that is resonating with what people want, then that song becomes a hit. I can tell you that the UPND have produced so many songs for their campaigns, and some by big musicians, but those songs are nowhere to be heard because they are not resonating with the people. There's no way you can be singing that there is a lot of money now in circulation, now people are living better, let's continue with this person. But meanwhile, people were not having power for 23 hours or 22 hours. People who stayed for the past 4 years under the hegemony where their rights were stifled, where people are being now killed, as we are seeing, people are being beaten, and people are committing crime in the name of the party, and nobody's arresting them. But you come and say there is peace now, everything is better. That's why nobody is listening to such messages. No wonder even when they go for rallies, it's the same thing. People are not jubilant, people are not participatory in those rallies. But when you look at Mundubile's rallies, people are participating in those rallies and they are genuinely happy because they are resonating with what the leader is talking about.
Yes, indeed. I'll go to what's trending on social media because that is part of what the papers say. We have a segment of what's trending on social media. Let me just see if we can get this quickly.
And before you get that, I don't know if I can talk about
you can continue, my brother.
Yeah. So the issue of students, I was so perplexed yesterday that there was a group of students, they were calling themselves graduates, and these graduates were about 10,000, more than 10,000 who benefited from the 65 million, apparently that was gotten from Faith. Now, I want to just inform the Zambians, you know, lying is a sin. In the Bible, it's a very big, you know, the father of lies is Satan. And as a Christian nation, we should avoid these things. Look, let's get 65 million and divide it by 10,000. You are getting 6,500 kwacha. How much are the tuition fees at the University of Zambia? As of today, if you go and check, they all start from 25,000 per year up to 33,000. So how can 10,000 people benefit from 65 million. It doesn't add up. University of Zambia, you can't be paying 6,500. So there is a lot of lying going on, and they are taking advantage of the desperation of these unemployed youths. Because they are so desperate, when they give them 200, they go and parade themselves. But they should remember that, yes, they are having that money for themselves, and we can't blame them because they don't have a job, and money is hard to come by because of the same way the government has been run the past 5 years. But to use that as a pretext to champion the same government that has kept you unemployed for 5 years and promote it, that is also lack of integrity, because we can't say all those, they even wore the gowns showing that they benefited from the 65 million, and they are more than 10,000, and it was all over the media. It was even in the Daily Mail. I saw it the other day. So I just wanted to alert the Zambians that these are just figures that, like as usual, the UPND has been very good at deception, and it's good that Zambians have learned that this is not something that they can go by. Now, still talking about students, the University of Zambia, as we are talking, has got about 35,131 students. That's the total number of students. Out of these, there is about 4,179 who are on campus. So when you talk about these, out of the entire 35,000, we've got about 17,378 students who are on bursary. Now, these 17,000 include all of them from first year up to 7th year. You are including even medical students. And then from these, we've got only 3,900 who were given, like the first years, about 3,926. Now, when you look at those numbers, when the president came out and said he was increasing the money for the accommodation from 3,900 to 5,850. For starters, this is just catering for 49% of the students at the University of Zambia. So people should not be deceived that all the students at the University of Zambia are on bursary. Not everyone is on bursary. Not everyone is being sponsored. And people should know that these same loans, they are hard to come by. They are a loan. They are no longer a bursary. It would have made sense now, if it was a bursary, for students to even go and start chanting slogans. Because when it was a bursary, all these changes meant that the student was going to benefit for free. But right now, if it is a loan, we don't expect people to be begging for a loan. Unfortunately, the process has remained the same, but the name has changed, and the whole financial system has changed. It has moved from a bursary to a loan, but you still have to prove so much for you to be given the same loan, which you are going to pay back. So what the president should have been talking about is to change this the way it is in America. Ambassador, if you want to get a loan to go to school today, I'm sure you've seen that you just need to wake up and make an application, and you'll be given that loan. There is nothing like you have to show and kill your parents in those letters. If your parents are alive, you need to kill them and produce evidence. No, somebody died, this one died, that's why I'm vulnerable. Everyone has to do that to just get these loans, which is not supposed to be the case. So the loan system is very bad, and it needs to be changed. That's what the president should have been talking about. But merely going to increase from 3,900 to 5,800 accommodation allowance and making the students go on the streets to say, oh, he's the best president ever. Again, people need to differentiate between educated people and people who are getting educated. This is the other thing. I've noticed that when people are making comments about students, they say these are very intelligent, educated people, and because they are supporting this president, then we should follow this. People are in universities to get an education. Those people are even undergraduates, most of those you saw there. So meaning that that's when they are learning and they are getting educated. So some are even in first year, others in second year, and they were cadres. Make no mistake, Ambassador and our viewers, not everyone you saw there was a student. There were some students, yes. But I've been at UNZA myself. I know how it plays out. They got some few students, and most of the other people were just cadres. Others were gotten from Kalingalinga and other places. Why do we say so? Like you have said, at the University of Zambia itself, there are 4,135 students who are in body, who live on campus. So How possible is it that we are that crowd? Does it mean all the students, they support Hakainde? All the students who left their rooms and went to State House? The answer is no. The thing is that out of those 4,000, others haven't, because classes haven't started, so others may not have even reported. Again, others just come and go. They come, they have rooms. There are people who have rooms at UNZA, but they don't even live on campus. Whenever it's weekend, they leave, they go home. Again, we have people at UNZA who are Jehovah's Witnesses who don't vote, and we have got others who support Tonse Alliance. So to have such a huge number representing the entire student populace, that is not realistic. But this is the playbook for the UPND. Even when they are having rallies, they can go to Katete and have a rally, which is going to have the number of people of Lusaka, because they will get people from surrounding areas to go and fill that stadium. But remember, I want you to pay attention to nitty-gritties. There is always a catch. Look at the president. If the president was really loved and he knew that things were okay on the ground as he's portraying, today he wouldn't be going back to the same areas he had campaigned before. The reason the president is going back is because he thinks by going back, he can convince people to vote for him. If people already love him that much and they're appreciating him, he wouldn't bother much to go and campaign the way he's doing. But because the president knows the reality, even if he plays the optics, he knows what's behind the optics. He knows they have gathered people from different areas. So whatever picture you get is not realistic. So he has to go back and forth to make sure that he can try to talk and convince some people to vote for him. So the reality is, even those numbers you saw, those are not all UNZA students. Most of them were just merely cadres. And like we have said, these people are just, the people who are on bursary are just 49% of the population. And these are getting educated. And because they are getting educated, they are bound to make a lot of mistakes. They are gullible. So that's why people rush to go and use students, because students are very much gullible. And when they are making decisions, for them, they will just look at what they are seeing today. I remember even during the time of SATA, there was a time when Bwezani came, there were people who came from the MMD representing Bwezani, and they got a lot of people from UNZA. They gave them money, fitenges, and everyone was dancing to Bwezani's songs. Bwezani looked like he was going to win the 2011 elections. But that is history. Bwezani came and lost terribly to Michael Sata, despite Michael Sata seemingly not having much money compared to Bwezani. So doctoring crowds hasn't started today. That's why people should not be moved by this. And come 13th August, people will see the reality on the ground. Unfortunately, with this government, they are unable to see what is really on the ground because they have stifled the laws, the rights of the people. So people are unable to express themselves. That's why when the shock comes, they will have a bigger shock than the other, previous elections were, because for them, people are not really expressing themselves. Anyone who tries to is in danger. And this brings me to one thing, Ambassador. Yesterday,
Yes.
I spoke to someone, a nurse who was being intimidated by one of these cadres. One of the cadres got the screenshot of that nurse commenting on their post, one of the UPND cadres, a prominent cadre. And then he posted on his page and mentioned that, no, she works at such and such a place. If we also become petty, is she supposed to be doing this and that? But this is a cadre who is now trying to threaten a civil servant, because the civil servant just commented saying that the uniforms that the nurses are wearing, that she had an experience actually, that she once wore a uniform in the market. She met someone from NMCZ and she had to plead because they were going to discipline her. She pleaded because those uniforms, you don't go with them to the market. That's why you don't see nurses in the markets with those uniforms. Those uniforms are strictly guided by specific rules and regulations. So that nurse was trying to explain to this cadre on the post that these people are doing what is wrong. I'm a nurse and we are not allowed to do this. But this cadre got so furious and got their screenshot and posted it there. And we can't be shocked if we hear that this nurse is being harassed at work, which is something which is not supposed to be the case. Because like we said earlier, the president is wrong by calling on to these nurses to come with uniforms, to come and get their employment there. Already he has employed, if you count now, there are more than 1,000 who have been employed. Maybe the entire 2,600 is done. Yesterday, he even employed teachers, Ambassador, unless you are not aware. He
Yeah.
employed teachers yesterday. So are we sure? So we didn't know that there is some employment going on for teachers. People heard
Doc,
of it yesterday.
what is
Employed
worrying
teachers.
is that the president can be at a podium and say, I've increased accommodation allowance from 3,600 to 5,000. The president doesn't run the university. He's not the vice chancellor. He
That's the
cannot
thing.
make such a managerial decision. Not even the board chair can make such a decision. So you saw him pronounce. He's now recruiting people. He's not up to the president to do that recruitment. Recruitment of into public service has set out guidelines. So a lot of things are being done very wrong. Yesterday, the president said something that has shocked all of us. He says he will provide feeding at polling stations. All polling stations, the UPND will provide food. That is very alarming. Other than that is corruption and vote bribing. We already hear things like ZNS and Zambia Correction Service are already milling meal without branding it. And then the president announces that will be cooking at polling station. That already makes you bridge the dots. That so ZNS is printing and branded Midimio and Kalonga is Zambia Correction Service, and Zambia Air Force will provide the chicken and eggs. And the president says we'll be cooking at polling station. That is serious.
Ambassador, before I even forget, you see, the actions being undertaken by this ZNS are so surprising. You know, this is the first ZNS that has been so political and outright political. Can you imagine that the ZNS commander even attended that rally for the students?
Yeah.
And it's the first time we are seeing a person in uniform attending a political rally. And at that political rally, he is talking that no, the president was bothering him about UNZA. That's not his job to take care of UNZA.
Yeah.
UNZA has got a management, and they are supposed to be the ones to come up with how they are going to do the maintenance.
He said the president was calling me nearly every day, even 01, the president calling me about how far we had gone with the sewerage at UNZA.
Yeah, so that is a problem. So when we see what's happening, that's what happens when you put cadres in office. You know, people say a lot of bad things about PF, but I can tell you, Ambassador, I beg to differ. When you look at the integrity of people who were having those positions in PF, for instance, Vamulenga, the former ZNS commander, I'm sure most of the people don't even know him. They don't. Because Vamulenga was not political. You look at the former commander for the army, nobody knew him. But we have got a commander now for the ZNS, the army, the ZAF. All of them are very political. And they are so political such that everyone knows they are UPND and they campaign for UPND. They don't even hide it. What has happened to our people? We need to change this trajectory. And the only way this changes is when you change the commander-in-chief. Because the reason why we never used to see all these things, it's because the presidents who were there then understood what professionalism was. But this president only understands support. So if you support him, you are at liberty to do anything. Unfortunately, we've got career people. I was disappointed a few weeks ago. I listened to Hikaumba and the ZCTU, which are there now, the Secretary General. Imagine they were supporting they were supporting when Mundubile said civil servants are not supposed to be involved in politics, and he was saying, I'm warning you, civil servants, you need to stop doing this. They came out so strongly and saying that you shouldn't be threatening civil servants. And none of them condemned the president for what he's doing or condemning civil servants who are being political. It is very disheartening because now we've got people who are supposed to be advising are also part of the problem. We are in a situation where it's like an autoimmune disease, where the same things that are supposed to protect you start eating you up. That is what is happening. So we need really someone who is going to come in and dampen everything and correct the situation that we have at hand. So come August 13th, Zambians need to make that change, because I can assure you, Ambassador, another 5 years of this government, there will be no civil service. It will be political service. There will be no civil service at all, because already it has been destroyed more than 50%. And then we are remaining with very few people who are credible, and most of the people who were credible and had been in the civil service with institutional memory were removed. We had, for the first time, politicians being appointed to higher offices, permanent secretaries coming out in open, say, I'm going to campaign for my president, and ambassadors. And we have seen the president as well abrogate the law several times. We know that there are several things that the president can do and shouldn't do, because no one is above the law in our constitution. So even when we talk about the employment that's happening right now, that is abrogation of the law and against the electoral code of conduct, because the president is buying votes using those people. What
Thank you,
he's doing
Doc.
is that,
Let me just go to what's trending on social media, and the lines are now open.
The truth is that the current president of Zambia, he has no manifesto. He has nothing to tell you. He has not fulfilled anything that he promised Zambians. That's why you are seeing the all-president stooping so low to start attacking the young lady Iris. The man lied to you. The man only ruled Zambia for 5 years doing blame game. Is this why we elected this president? No. The vice president was sending a girl child mwashitisha malaiti muchalo chimbi muleshitisha malaiti kufyalo fimbi elo nomba ensoni balanda bakufyalo kulya twatotera pakutupela malaiti. Thank you for giving us electricity, even though you guys are suffering. You don't have electricity, but you choose us. And he even said that us, we cannot do that, but you guys you're doing it. And then you want to justify yourselves that it's because of the contract that Zambia has. Because of natural causes, you can pause that contract. You people, you are full of lies. From the beginning, mwali afi kugoji nokula tupangira tuma videos at moneni chishinka elo nomba basa sokolola ba Namibia pabwelo okofiri. I'm not lying. These videos are there. For the past 5 years, the only thing that you did was just to complain about the previous government. The previous government owned up to their mistake. They said, we made a mistake. Now you, for the past 5 years, have you even apologized? Just say sorry, mabano bakwaleza. Fiadi to shupa fi mwevena Zambia. No, nothing. Pride. You have dragged yourself with power. Now, Zambians will show you that the power is in the people's hands. Vaimita bafole, vakema. Iwe imita ufole na iwe. Upose kosana man. Power is in your hands. Ukwate kwa bafyasha bakobati basalanda mwana wandi isentwikale tumunafe twalachita. You have found gold. How can we help you? Let's see how we can help you, so that, because these are your natural resources, let's find a safe way of you guys doing it. Let's do it together so that they can takwa baami fumishien infuti bali fwa abantu. The past 5 years, Zambia has gone through serious problems, serious struggle. You Zambians, you stopped using your fridges because people used to go months and weeks without electricity. I am not lying. These remaining 13 days, sit down and remember your suffering, because I'm telling you, it will come double if we do not choose wisely. Apafie a hope to start over. Apa namu peshiba pelampi. That is our hope to start over. President Mundubile and Vice President Makebi Zulu. That's where we can start from. I submit.
We first raise alarm on a responsible cruel and abusive behavior of the mine owner Vedanta.
We have not given KCM to Vedanta, no.
Who informed us that there are some people whose actions look suspicious, and as usual, we followed up the tip. We are very serious with what members of the public tell us. Together, working with them, we recovered these plates of copper that you see. It's high-grade copper.
Mr. Yuyi says copper theft will be managed in the province.
You know, crimes to do with copper is well organized.
We are very proud today, before this House, to announce that Vedanta Resources Limited has come back to KCM.
Those were the three major videos trending, this week, especially the president saying we'll never allow the crew of Vedanta, but Vedanta is back. And Yuyi, who's involved in theft of copper, is the one that was in the forefront of recovering the copper and saying they will not allow, organized crime to take over. Let me take some calls. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Ambassador.
Good morning.
Oh, it's good morning for you. Okay. My name is Susan. I'm calling you from Seattle.
Susan, make your contribution.
Okay. Ambassador, nalituma message yesterday ku phone yenu. Ndelo mbako, if you can take time and look at that message, it's very, very important. So on this same number, and I tried calling you several times yesterday. I think Mwalasangama missed calls. So it's something that I don't want to talk on this platform, but yes, messages, yeah. And if you can act on it, I would really appreciate it.
Let me look at it. Thank you, Susan.
Okay.
And I'll send you my personal number. This is a public number, so I usually, Okay, the lines are open to all those that wish to participate on any of the subject that we've been discussing this morning. Let me hear from you. The lines are open. Doc, the social media commentaries on Vedanta, on that, President Hakainde Hichilema put the country through load shedding and a lot of pain. And you can comment on them before, as we are waiting for callers.
So I want to start with the issue of Vedanta. You see, when President Edgar Lungu, may he so rest in peace, mentioned that there was a politician who was having deals with Vedanta, that if you help me with some money, I'm going to bring it to give the mines back to you. And then there were a lot of arguments that were made. People thought ECO was lying. I remember listening to ECO talk. It was during a rally. He mentioned that there was someone who was making such deals. When the president came into office, the current president, he denied vehemently that he was not going to bring back Vedanta. However, as it has shown so far, the president is full of lying. Everyone knows that that's one of the things that he's very good at. He refused at different times when he had all those press briefings that Vedanta was not going to come. But what's funny is that the president came and now announced the coming back of Vedanta with pride. And he said, we are so proud Vedanta is coming, as if he has forgotten that he's the same person who has been denying that people are lying for him, that is bringing back Vedanta. So people have lived in lies for the past 5 years. And these lies, people have now come to realize that this will just continue if it is not stopped. So indeed, this is one of the reasons why most of the Zambians are against the UPND, because of lying. There's so much lying that whatever they say, people are now saying, if the president says good afternoon, you need to go outside and check if it is really afternoon, because it may not actually be afternoon. This is one thing that is realistic, because I can tell you, Ambassador, that even among the people who were told, those who went to work at the cholera center, not everyone has been employed. But the president said when he went there that I've employed everyone. And that's what I keep advising, even these ones going to rallies. Not all of them are, even these people, they will come and testify months from now. There might not even be any employment being done. The president is able to lie, is able to deceive and say all sorts of things.
Thank you, Doc. Let's take another caller. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Yes, good morning. I just wanted to say hi to Brian Samba. We used to be in the same class together at Bunza. We stayed in the same block together. I just wanted to make a contribution concerning the CDH, which I think I saw on ZNPC.
The Cancer Disease Hospital, yes.
That one. Those are jokes. Those are serious jokes.
What are serious jokes, my brother? What are serious jokes?
To say that $31 million did that, so those machines I saw, which cost, I think to me, I estimated they are like $200,000 there. But they are saying $31 million. $31 million should build something much more tangible.
Should build another cancer disease hospital.
Yes, it should be, or increase bed capacity there for cancer disease. And actually, where you make our doctors feel good, they improve research, and the hospital can actually start publishing research papers. But now, to say $31 million, then watch that machine to $200,000 away. That's what I mean by serious jokes. And I actually wanted maybe Mr. Doc Sampa to comment on that as well.
Thank you. The lines are open. Let's take some more calls before we let Dr. Brian Sampa to comment, and we quickly close. When you are doing double shift, we need to rest too. So quickly call if you have something to say before we let Dr. Sampa to go and rest. Quickly call. You were calling while we were talking. I didn't open the phone lines. So now the phone lines are open. Please go. The young lady is still trending. Mwandi, independent MP. Her case is still pending. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contributions.
Hello, Ambassador. And how are you, Doc?
Yeah, he can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. And thank you, Ambassador, for the program. You are keeping us informed. I'll still remain anonymous.
Make your contribution anonymous.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I would love to thank Dr. Sampa. He's well articulated the issues. And I wish a lot of people could have a chance to hear what the way he's explained things. As it is, I think what our leaders need to do is just to let the people not be discouraged, but just to let them be still and know that everything is fine. Always at the end, we seem to have confusion, but we still know to say we are intact as a party and no one should drift away, or maybe, everything that is happening. These people are just trying to, shift our attention. All these issues that are coming up, it's just to let us just to shift our attention, that we shouldn't concentrate on the voter protection, we shouldn't concentrate on the ballot issue. All we need now is just to keep the focus. We don't need to lose focus. We just need to keep the eyes on the ball, because we're just close to the finishing line. So there's nothing that can distract us. We like athletes that want to jump the finish line. We're already there. We're almost there. So there's nothing that can distract us. People can shout, people can call your name, people can do this, but we just need to focus and keep our eyes on the ball. Nothing should distract us. Even the RP people that are standing on the Ichola symbol, whatever, they just need to focus, and no one should withdraw, no one should lose, no one should listen to anyone. Let it just be still, because they're already on the ballot. There's nothing they can do. There's nothing to like withdrawing. Let it be the way it is, and people will decide. All we need is just to usher our president after the 13th. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let us be still, she says. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Thank you. Good morning, good evening. This is Don Oscar. I'm calling from Italy.
Yes, Father, from Italy.
Yes, greetings to Dr. Sampa. It is it's lovely to listen to him because he's factual. He's patriotic. I think he's one of the patriots that I've seen. My contribution is what we heard yesterday: the confusion, the Resolute Party president resigning or endorsing an opposition, an opponent on the other side. That episode reminded me of the greatness of this lady from Mwandi constituency. I think this is called Iris Kaingu, I think. She is an independent candidate. What happened with the Resolute Party president and what happened to Madame Kaingu? There are two examples that I would love the Zambians to consider, and also Dr. Sampa as well to comment on. Zambia, 62 years after independence, we have no excuse at the moment to say we don't know what we are doing, or we don't know what we want for tomorrow. So it is now or never. Such episodes can have put in front of all of us the two examples, one a positive example, the other one a negative example. Madam Kaingu is a freedom fighter. Madam Kaingu, kudos to that lady. She's an independent, and she has been insulted for standing firm and for choosing to represent the members of her community. Whereas the other example of Resolute Party president, the gentleman has betrayed the people he was representing. He has literally betrayed. 62 years after independence, by Dr. Sampa, by Mwamba, can't we come with an agent law that can punish such type of behavior of betrayal, political betrayers? Can we make a law that condemns them seriously? A country which moves in this way is not going anywhere. We want to make steps ahead in our country. We are fed up of going back to the same thing. In exchange of money, in exchange of cash, dignity in exchange of money. We are here in the diaspora. We enjoy all these liberties, the freedoms, the seriousness of the law, the application of the law. Why can't we enjoy it at our own home, in our own beloved country? So these two examples were Dr. Sampa, please help our young people, our students at the University of Zambia, our students at the Copperbelt University, to choose and respect the dignity of the people that God has entrusted to us so that we can lead them. And that is just, I thank you to Iris Kaingo. God bless you, madam. God will bless you. The other people are betraying the Zambian people. It doesn't matter whether you are UPND, Resolute Party, you are DPP, you are whatever party you belong to. But you do not deserve honor if you betray the ordinary and poor citizens of Zambia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me take some calls quickly. The numbers, the calls are dropping in quickly. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Asta Chamba from within Lusaka.
Asta, make your contribution.
Yes, please. For me, it's just a worrying of the president attacks. Just like the way the gentleman who was saying the president has no message to tell the people of Zambia of what he has done and what he's gonna do. So that is quite a worrying situation. And for that, which you've again talked about the vote buying and the Electoral Commission of Zambia, they are not saying anything of whatsoever regarding all such kind of acts from the Republican president. Now, Mr. Mwamba and the talk and the general public who's listening, how sure are we that the Electoral Commission of Zambia, they're going to act profession during the elections? Are the votes going to be free and fair elections? Are these going to be free and fair elections? Are there any international bodies that can come in and help us? Because technically what we are seeing, what the president is doing, is uncalled for, and the ECZ are quiet. But when we look at what is happening, like the Tonse and other political parties, the ECZ, they are quite up, you know. So it's, on my end, personally, it's very worrying, and it's really scary that we are not going to have free and fair election. Maybe you can be able to advise us or tell us how this can be done, or how best this can be done by Electoral Commission of Zambia. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No, my answer is very simple. The elections will not be free and fair, but you have a duty to protect the vote. You have a duty to ensure that the will of the people of Zambia is not thwarted, that political parties must send agents. All we can do is try to stop the irregularities, try to stop the thefts, try to stop the stealing that may take place. That's what you can do. Let's take the course quickly so that I allow Doc to come in, and then we close for the day. Okay, I don't know, the line keeps on cutting, but sometimes it happens when a lot of people are calling at the same time. Try. We pick your calls quickly. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
This is Seeker. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about what is happening in our country. I just wanted to know what have you put anything in place to help us protect the votes that we are going to cast on the 13th? If not, please, may you mobilize so that the votes can be protected, because it is worrying. It is very much worrying what we are seeing. Like the previous caller was saying, we are very much worried about our votes. May you do something to protect our votes, please?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you a voter?
Yes, I'm a registered voter.
Do you know where you are voting from? Have you identified your polling station?
I'm very much aware about that, sir.
Yeah, get a register. There is an online register that is going on. Wambula register pa polling station pa pamienu palia. Monanga parebo muishive. Forming a committee. Then you begin to recruit others who are appearing on that voters register. On the day of voting, muka e voter. And on another matter is ngamwa voter muikafumapo muka kalefe 100 meters away, to ensure that you protect, the post staff that will be there from political parties and other observers. So there's something you can do yourself before you ask others to do it. As a voter, there's something you can do. Thank you.
Thank you.
It starts with you. It starts with us. We should protect the vote as voters ourselves. See your polling station, look for that register, see how many people that you may know. Form a polling station committee yourselves. You can help the person that will come from Lusaka or that Lusaka will appoint as polling agent. You can actually even protect them in case something shenanigans wishes to happen. The country only has about 21,000 police officers, so they can't man each polling station across the country. They can only manage so many, and they will need the community participation. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll remain anonymous.
Anonymous, make your contributions.
Yeah, thanks so much for the opportunity. I tried to call yesterday, but I couldn't. I think there were so many people talking. Yeah, but what I just want to say is I think all these things that are happening, including this Dr. Perry coming on, I think all these things are just obviously a confusion and distraction. For me, from the way I look at it, Brian Mundubile has already won this election because there's so much support countrywide. There are only two things that we need to do now. One, like the others have said, obviously is to protect the vote. They will try to rig. It's obvious that this is not being played at a fair level with the UPND. But the game is already won, so we have to protect the vote. And the people, as seen from the support that we have given, the little contributions we are making, the Secretariat has obviously the numbers of people because there was the entries of the constituency, district, ward, and so forth. They have that database already of who is where. The Secretariat has to support us to probably identify ourselves on where we are voting from, and we will definitely protect the vote. Then the other thing that we need to do, obviously, is to protect the two leaders that we have.
And go with your own pen when you're going to vote. Go with your own pen.
Yes, we'll go with our own pains, but we have to protect our leaders. For me, I think this is the biggest thing, because if anything happens to any of our two leaders, then it's disaster. So we have to protect them. Whether they only do 2 sites or 3 sites in the remaining provinces, let it be. But we have to protect our two leaders so that nothing happens to them in these remaining days. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make a contribution.
Ninda veshina lya ndi mwalanjererako
Kwa imewala bideshina lya Londoni po.
Ndi mwisaka manangu pano no natukwata mareji natukwata makati uletalika lwakwe natotera.
Thank you very much. Doc, I think we got a sample of what our people are saying. Let me bring you in so that you answer any of our people, and we then, you make your concluding remarks.
So I'll start with my friend, the one I was with at the University of Zambia, although I didn't get his name really. I'm so glad that you were tuned in, and I appreciate your recognition of what we are doing. So he mentioned that the 31 million was a joke. I can tell you, Ambassador, he was very right. I'll give you an example. What was done at UTH was just an upgrade. And we are talking about getting a linear accelerator and a new CT scan. That's what they have reported. That's what they did. And they upgraded some imaging. Now, when you go to the prices for these said equipments, for the linear accelerator, the best quality, you find they are ranging between 500,000 to 2 million US dollars. And then the CT scan is just between 400,000 and 700,000. So they only bought one CT scan, and then there were 2 linear accelerators. So we would be justified to approximate that if they had used 3 million they would have managed to do everything. But this is the case with the UPND again. The UPND are fond of inflating figures because they are giving people these contracts and they are stealing using contracts. When you look at the toilets they have been building, they mention millions. Even the simple toilet that was built at Unza, it was worth millions. And we have seen this trend. That's why the coming government needs to go on and edit these kind of projects, because there is no way. When I went and checked like how much it would take to equip the entire country with this same imaging equipment and radiotherapy equipment, it was bringing 60 million the entire Zambia. So now imagine, that is how it was supposed to be done. But we've got the government saying they spent 31 million just for that. That is like exactly what he said. We could have built a new hospital from that. So there's a lot of corruption going on. And I would borrow the words of Membe. He said, if PF was corrupt, these guys are stealing the entire capital. They are not even stealing petty cash. These were the people who were saying PF was corrupt. But up to date, they haven't proved anything that PF was indeed corrupt. These are the same people who said money was being lost from the government, it was being siphoned. But what we see are billions of dollars which are being siphoned at the moment and the government doing nothing. And to come and say that 1 million was spent on refurbishing a hospital, that is really way too much, because a new hospital would have been built in this 1 million. And like you said, Ambassador, this does not even include medication. They haven't bought any medication for that. And this is just one equipment which they are saying they did. So this is very wrong, and it needs to be looked at in, with intention and analyzed, so that those people will be found wanting, they need to be answerable. The Zambian people are losing a lot of taxpayers' money through these kind of illicit deals which this government has been doing. Now, I come to the focus. You see, people are calling on focus. The thing is this: the Zambian people are the ones who made Mundubile and Makebi to come together, because the Zambian people are the ones who wanted change. And these leaders merely answered the call of the Zambians. That's why when you look at Mundubile and Makebi Zulu today, they are really doing very fine politically, because they are just doing what the Zambian people want. That is what leaders do. Leaders don't follow personal gain. They don't do things for themselves. They act on what the people want. And that's what made Mundubile and Makebi to come together. Unlike these other politicians, despite Zambians calling them to say join forces, they have refused. But anyway, they are not a factor anymore, because people have already decided on settling for Mundubile. So when you look at what people are demanding now, is that there should be no focus on RP, because this issue is neither here nor there. The constitution is very clear that none of those people, even if they were to be fired, to be expelled today, are going to leave their positions. So there's no need to even start fighting and talking about it, doing tit for tat, because that is the aim of the government. They want to keep the opposition preoccupied with things which don't matter. And time is going. We are remaining with 10 days, and these 10 days are crucial. So let those people continue doing what they are doing. The campaigners, let them continue campaigning. Those people who are standing on Resolute Party, they are still in Tonse, and let them continue campaigning under Tonse. There's no need to start focusing more on what that Mr. Piri is doing. Those are dangerous people. Just like what the other caller said, it's been 62 years. And from that time of independence up to now, we are still having these kind of betrayers. He was even suggesting that maybe there should be a law to punish these unpatriotic Zambians. You see, these people like Mr. Piri is the same category like Sampa, the same category like Chavinga. But when you critically look at these individuals, they don't really look okay. Because when you see the way they act, it doesn't even add up. This is the same person who would be laughing with you today, and then tomorrow they will change. Lungu gave Mao Sampa, for instance, different chances. At so many times did Lungu forgive Sampa. Even this last time when he got the party, still ECO before his death, he forgave him. That is unlike the president they are now supporting, because this president they are supporting knows no forgiveness. Look at what he's doing to Gary Nkombo. And people need to understand that it's good that these people are actually gone. It is good that they are being lumped up in one place. And I just want to say this to our incoming president, Mundubile. he should never entertain these people once they come back, because they have a tendency of coming back. These people have shown from time and again that their main aim is just to benefit their stomachs. So if after winning the elections, these people come back, no, we are sorry, they should never be embraced, because all they do is prey on the Zambians. They don't care. If the Zambian people have been struggling for all these years, for them, they are well off. But the ordinary Zambians are the ones who are staying without electricity for 24 hours. Them, they have got solar panels. They bought expensive solars. They were able to have electricity 24/7. Others have so much money that they were not even living in Zambia. They used to fly to South Africa, live there for some time. They've got property there. But ordinary Zambians are suffering. And yet these are the same people even going around. And you see, it is actually resonating very well now that Mundubile is asking for support from Zambians, because we needed somebody who understands the plight of the Zambians. And nobody can understand it better than Mundubile, who has traversed the entire country by using his own vehicle. Mundubile never flew from one place to another. They have been driving the entire country. So he understands. He is seeing the roads that needs to be worked on. He is seeing how Zambians are suffering, because when they are driving, sometimes they stop by the road, they find some Zambians selling some merchandise, and they are able to see and interact with those Zambians. So we are able to see a good leader in Mundubile, because Mundubile has got the experience and he has seen the plight of the Zambians. So again, the power is in your hands. Zambians, don't make this mistake, because this is the only chance we have. We have got one shot at it, and once this chance goes, I can tell you, and be rest assured, if you can keep this recording, if this government wins on 13th, there will be a lot of changes to the constitution, and 2031 elections may not be guaranteed. You need to know, democracy is now under threat under this government. So if we don't do anything, we are going to regret, because all the gains that have been made all these years, this government came and said everything was being done wrongly, and they are rewriting the script, and that script is only fitting them. So let's take this chance. It's once in a lifetime, and we don't need to miss this chance. So there is also another caller who asked whether these elections are going to be free and fair. Oh, before I go to that one, the other caller mentioned that we need to advise the students. And yes, this goes directly to the students. I was a student myself. I had been an advocate for some time. I want to advise the students from UNZA, CBU, Mulungushi, and these other higher institutions of learning. You see, in the past, students were the start of the revolution. The reason was students were able to analyze the governments. They were not just looking at what they were being given. In the past, most of the times the governments hated institutions of higher learning because the universities were able to see past the lies of politicians. Our universities nowadays are stooping so low, and they are becoming cadres themselves. There is no way the entire university and the entire university management and the university students union can endorse a candidate. That shows you that something is wrong. You need to go back, read through the history. The universities are the most neutral places that you can find in a country. They are the ones that were always fighting the government of the day and trying to put them in check. So we can't have our students being paraded by politicians and shouting slogans. That is very wrong. And you need to know, most of you students will end up one day doing research. You should know that research, you're trying to find evidence to whatever thesis you come up with. You come up with a title. And in that research title, you are also coming up with the goals of that research. And then you have the objectives. What are you trying to achieve? After that research, you will come up with a conclusion. Why am I giving you this example? Just like a research, I want you to analyze, in retrospect, the UPND government, from the time they came into office from 2021 to now. I want you to look at the commodities. Forget the rhetoric. Forget what they are telling you that no, the economy is better. Firstly, ask yourself, if the economy is really better, is your economy at home better from the way it was in 2021? Because anybody can wake up and mention any number. It's very easy for a government which is known for lying. They can come and say inflation is 1%. inflation is 2%. But when you talk about inflation, inflation itself is going to tell you how the prices are doing. So how can you have mealie meal and tomato? Actually, somebody was telling me that bread now is 20, 15, and the other is 25. So now look at it this way. The same bread that was 4 kwacha 15 ngwe in 2021 has reached that much. And then somebody comes and tells you that the economy is doing better. If you were doing a research, would your conclusion be that the economy is really doing better? Are you sure the economy is doing better? Or you are talking because you've been given something today and now you are extrapolating everything to what you've been given today as everything being better? So students, use your intellect. I understand that as students, you are still getting educated. You are not yet educated. There is a difference. You are getting educated. But as you are getting educated, you've got a chance, you've got a platform, and you've got a better understanding than some people who may not be as privileged as you are. You know what people go through at UNZA. You know what you went through to get those loans. You know what you went through to get those bursaries. Are you telling me the 49% of the people who have those bursaries are a representative of everyone? Is everyone at UNZA on bursary? Instead of advocating for better loan services, instead of advocating that everybody should be able to qualify as long as they're able to pay back one day. And how can you not appreciate a man like Mundubile, who says that once you finish your education and you stay for a long period of time without a job, we are going to set a mark. And that mark will determine, for instance, I'm just giving an example, if it's 2 years or 3 years without a job, that you'll be forgiven of the loan. Why can't you appreciate such a person? Because look, what sense does it make that you finished your education in 2020, you are not employed, you come and get employed in 2030, that is 10 years later, and then if you were 30, you are now 40, and your retirement age is 55, so you are going to work for 15 years and retire, and then you are supposed to pay back the loan of 300,000 in 15 years. When another person who completed when they were 20 will retire at 55 and they will work 35 years and they are going to be deducted this long because for them, the deduction will at least finish before they retire. When you look at those things, others will be working for 5 years and retire and they still need to pay back 300,000. So you should be thinking before you make decisions and try to analyze these things. When Mundubile says he's going to forgive students, that is something that I expected students to march for and appreciate, because that makes sense. All of us, when we were at UNZA, we are still owing that bursary. And because we are still owing, if somebody comes and says, I'm going to forgive this, even in America, there was a forgiveness under Obama. There was a forgiveness under Biden. It is a normal practice. The government is able to forgive student loans. You should appreciate such things. And you should think about the future. Today, you may be celebrating that 5,800 has been added now. But I can assure you, now it has pushed your loans to more than 200,000. And those loans now, you need to pay them through your nose. Most of you, because I know at UNZA, the majority are in humanities and education. In education, right now we've got more than 100,000 teachers who are unemployed, meaning that most of you will not even be employed in the next foreseeable future of maybe 4 or 5 years. So if you're not going to be employed during that period and you will be struggling, but you'll be expected at whatever time you start working to be paying that loan, would you not appreciate somebody who comes to you and say, I've seen your suffering and I'm going to make sure that I forgive you? Isn't that a good thing? You can go and jump and dance, somebody just adding something and giving you 200 kwacha, but there's someone who wants to forgive the entire thing. The government can forgive you. The same way the same government was able to cancel exams for doctors. It was able to cancel exams for clinical officers and nurses. The exams can be cancelled. These loans can be cancelled. It is the government that makes those laws, and the government can do it. So when Mundubile promises these things, he is being very realistic. He's able to do it. The same way he has promised you students, when you complete, you are going to only volunteer for a maximum of 6 months. If you volunteer above that, you are supposed to be employed. Isn't that a good thing? Do you want to join a queue of all these unemployed people who have been unemployed for more than 5 years and they are not seeing any future at all? Do you know that currently we've got more than 127 doctors from 2021 who have been on the waiting list. And then we've got more than 3,000 now who are unemployed. We've got more than 100,000 teachers unemployed, more than 29,000 nurses unemployed, more than 5,000 midwives unemployed. We've got more than 14,000 clinical officers unemployed. And now we've got pharmacists and all these cadres. And you are jumping, you are dancing. But this person is not promising you any employment. He has told you he's going to employ 2,600 people. He has already finished that number because he's going around employing the same people who are going there to the rallies. But you are there dancing. Today, you may be enjoying because you are in university. You have got no responsibility. It's free water, it's free electricity. And then you are getting paid the meager thing, the meager, meal allowance you are getting paid. But I can assure you, after you graduate, life will now become real. Not what you are seeing today. You will even miss the same bursary that you had. So you need to prepare for the future. You don't want to become a praise singer. I know someone who is now just a praise singer, who was once even a vice president at the University of Zambia. Because the mistake he made was, even after finishing the university, he took a wrong route, and up to now he's still taking wrong routes, and now still supporting this government, doing all sorts of wrong things because there's no integrity. You need to know your actions of today will determine the future tomorrow.
Thank you.
You are the voices, so you need to make sure you do the right thing.
Thank you very much, Doc. Let me take this caller. He's been calling, and I felt guilty that probably, even if I'd close, I listened to the hello caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, this is James, actually calling you from Copper Belt.
James.
I want to mention the exact town actually I'm calling you from.
Thank you, James. Make your contribution.
Yes, so first of all, I would like to ask you a question before I proceed about the fundraising our president actually has launched. Because it was blocked yesterday. I remember I had the opportunity to contribute actually. Before yesterday, I managed. But yesterday, my younger sister also wanted to contribute. It's from her that I learned that the link was blocked. When I went to social media, I checked and I found out that everybody was commenting on the same. So is it unblocked now? It was on JJ Banda's program yesterday. Somebody commented that it's now working. Is it true that it's now working? It has been restored?
Not to my knowledge. We said we would officially communicate. The issues of fundraising was communicated on Honorable Brian Mundubile's page. Let's wait for guidance from that page. Also, during this period, there are some times where people can open and we don't know where that money is coming from. Let's just use the official one. The communication was done on Honorable Brian Mundubile's page. It should come if there is any new link that has been established from his page again. We'll guide you after that.
Okay, so does it mean that, or is it true that the contributions that we made, those of us that we've already contributed, the money has been, withheld? It has been seized by the Kenyan government, the Bank of Kenya. Is it true?
No, it can be seized. The money will still come to Honorable Brian Mundubile. What they've suspended is a short code, the means in which we were contributing. That money can be frozen or stopped. And even if it was raised for Brian Mundubile, to go to Brian Mundubile's campaign.
Okay, that's what I wanted to say. That are there not other avenues? Because I don't think Kenyan judicial system is as rotten as Zambian judicial system.
No, they can't even stop it. They can't even stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe Kenyan judicial system they have a functioning judicial system, unlike Zambian judicial system, which is gone to the dogs. Yeah. So I also wanted to say that certain things, Ambassador Mwamba, certain issues actually are better resolved in the bedroom. I called JJ Banda yesterday after he hung up on you because I was following you when you engaged him. I called him also and told him that certain issues actually are better resolved in the bedroom other than, bring them in the public. Because the enemy, our enemy right now is UPND, and they will be very happy to see confusion in the Tonse Alliance. And they'll start laughing at us and so on and so forth. They even forget about the more confusion that is actually occurring in their camp there, So, no need of altercations at this juncture. We are united now. We are one. We had differences earlier on. You yourself actually had another way of, the opposition coming into existence by way of course, you are advocating for the normal process of electing a PF leader. Whereas some of us, actually, I was one of those who were, appealing to your conscience, you our leaders, to ensure that we abandon and forget about the PF, because we knew that was irredeemable. And we were happy when Brian Mundure came out and forged ahead. But that is water now under bridge. Whenever we have occurring, problems, we don't need to continue to refer to the past. Let's resolve problems as they occur, as what has happened to the Resolute Party right now. We forge ahead and look at solutions, and other than talking about the past, we have heard, my sister Lily Mtambo, the outburst. We are one people. She's a good person. The chair, she's doing a good job. We are all now behind Brian Munduvili and are working towards, ensuring that we vanquish this, tyrant that we have today and obliterate the tyranny in this country.
Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you very much, and thank you for your advice.
Can I just conclude, Ambassador Mwamba? May I just conclude? On voter, protections. Am I still on air?
Yes, you are.
Okay, let me just conclude by saying that on voter protection, voter protection is as good as voting. Because if we just vote, as you've been advocating from maybe 2022 or 2023, actually, we vote and then we forget about that. It means it's as good as we've not voted. So we need to protect the vote to ensure that we be victors. And personally, I wanted to participate and become a polling agent. I don't know how I can. I don't know. Maybe you can advise. Where do I go to?
Go to your local. Go to your local structures, because it's being done at district level. So go to your local structure wherever you are. There is someone who belongs to the Tonse Pamozi Alliance, and they will get your name and make you participate. Hello, caller. I know you've been calling from yesterday and you couldn't go through. So
good morning, Honorable.
Get your short contribution. We are closing.
Can you just? I'm asking if I can be given a minute, sir.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I want to comment on the video that is sent in your inbox, where the president has been forcing people to withdraw or buying their candidature openly. There's a video in your inbox there where the president has gone to advise young people to withdraw. He's based on saying you don't have experience.
Which president?
On the floor of the House, which is now Bill 10.
Which president?
The act number. Aga Inde Ichirema, of course.
Oh, what was he saying?
There is a video of an independent young councillor who was advised by the president to withdraw, and he refused.
Or like the case of our dear sister Iris Karingu.
Not Iris, really. There is a councillor who in Southern Province. The video is already in your inbox. You go through it and you'll know what I'm talking about. This young boy, apparently his life is in danger. There are certain 3 vehicles that is following him up without number plates after he refused to withdraw his candidature. He's a president that was advising that if you vote for Bill 7, young people come to parliament. He's a president that was saying if you vote for Bill 7, women will come into parliament. Look how he's treating Iris Kaingo. Does he mean what he say when he's talking something? You people of Zambia should be very careful and open your eyes. Like I was, is the last election Zambia is going to hold. After this, I'm telling you, there will be more amendments that is going to make him Wamuyaya. That's why you hear them saying 2090. This is the Mingarata that have been planning all along. But make sure that you go and vote against him and say for Muyaya. Muyaya cannot be happening in Zambia at this in 21st century. We don't need a president that is going to be putting citizens' lives at risk. A president has to be protect his citizens.
Okay, thank you, my dear brother.
As people from our province, where independence was gained through Cha-Cha-Cha, we are not scared of him. We are not scared even mentioning our names. We are not even scared to show our names even on this platform's face. We can even show ourselves to say we are fighting these illegalities. We are not scared of him.
President of the country calls you, you refuse. That young lady, I called her, I said, don't stand as an independent. Support Sefulo here. Support Kakoma. She refused. Now, if the president calls a member of the party, I'm president of UPND, I call a member that let's follow the decision of the party, she refuses. President of the country calls you, you refuse. Kono wakenama kampe, wena. Kiskaman wena. Ah? Badana bakataza. Wakataza manana, wakataza. Don't vote for her. Mutwile. Don't vote for her. Mutwile marozbaru.
Doc, we need to conclude, and thank you for being with me. To our dear viewers and to Doc, I would like to thank you for the time and your sacrifice. We'll be back tomorrow morning for What the Papers Say, and we give you in-depth analysis and associated issues. Doc, thank you very much. We'll see you later.
Thank you so much, and have a good day.
Thank you.
President of the country calls you, you refuse. That young lady, I called her, I said, don't stand as an independent. Support Sefulo here. Support Kakoma. She refused. Now, if the president calls a member of the party, I'm president of UPND, I call a member that let's follow the decision of the party, she refuses. President of the country calls you, you refuse. Kono wakenama kampe, wena. Kiskaman wena. Ah? Badana bakataza. Wakataza manana, wakataza. Don't vote for her. Mutwile. Don't vote for her. Mutwile marozbaruna.